Okay, looks like I'm here. Uh, Wicked has a very special place in my life. Looks like I've been involved with it, or like it's affected me for almost 20 years. It's it is 20 years old. It's 21 years old. And I just saw it a second time, and I never get to write down things I think about the movie when I see them, or I just don't have a good habit of it. So I figured I should try to do it like this, but also, um, yeah, just capture thoughts. I tend to also seem to know more than my friends about Wicked, just because I've seen it maybe like seven, eight, 9 times over the years, and also consume all the relevant side knowledge about this because I'm just obsessive like that. Um, so how I structured it is I had some personal like history with it. Just this is me sort of working on the blog post, and then there's like overall thoughts on Wicked, overall thoughts on the movie, and then scene by scene because I just didn't have a good memory. Like I saw it a second time today, and there are just things I didn't pick up on, like the balloon bursting and falling. I did not catch that the first time. I don't know why, and so yeah, it's a really really well done movie. I don't think like I don't think like perfect, but it's extremely difficult to stage a movie musical, and it's also just like one of the best musicals probably of our generation, of our lives. So I just thought I would share some thoughts about it, but also, yeah, if you know how to jump on these live streams, you're welcome to jump and just chat because that's what we do here. Um, I thought it'd be a nice thing to do for like an hour or so, and then I need to like close the books on Wicked and stop thinking about it because it's so game changing. Okay, what is Wicked? Um, by the way, I'm basically just not going to. I saw it with like maybe like half of the people did not know what Wicked was, and they thought it was just like the Wizard of Oz but done again. They're all completely wrong, and I also don't know how much to spoil about it. So I think the basic idea that you should come in with is that Wicked is a prequel to the Wizard of Oz. It is basically the origin story of Glinda the Good Witch and Elphaba the Bad Witch, or the Wicked Witch. But there's a lot more to it. And even if there were not a good story, which there is, the songs are also what makes it sort of the S tier of musicals because the songs alone stand by themselves, even if you take the movie context out of it or the musical context out of it. So a lot of things came together to make this a good movie, a good musical. Actually, I'm just going to start blogging here. So, like, Wicked takes an interesting trope or takes the um, takes a story you think you know well, which is the Wizard of Oz, and adds dimension to it. Basically, it has a revisionist history to it, and I really like this idea that the person you think is the bad guy is actually good and misunderstood, and that's a really good starting point and premise to do any prequel. um, I think there's one of my favorite some of my favorite stories are always in a similar vein because um, like if you read Ender's Game, then this is basically the story of Andrew Wiggin, and um, there's a whole trilogy of Ender's Game, and you follow that story, that mainline story, but then you read the Bean stories behind Ender's Game. You follow Bean, the sort of side character, the guy that would have been Ender if Ender did not work out, and you see like all the backstories that didn't happen, and that always adds so much more dimensions. This has a little bit of a tradition going back to Shakespeare. Not really Shakespeare, but more Tom Stoppard than Shakespeare. But basically, in Shakespeare's Hamlet, there are two side characters, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, that are basically comic relief. They show up, they have off-screen lives, and they disappear. But then Tom Stoppard makes them the side characters, the main characters, and then imagines like what they're going through. He also does a lot of postmodernist stuff that is a little bit hard to get to, but once you understand it, you really appreciate it. Um, so this is all like turn side character into main character, turn what you think you know into something different. Like this is a huge device that like, always works on me, and I really like that. I also like the effectiveness of labels. The Wicked Witch. You know, when you watch the Wizard of Oz, you don't really question how she got the label wicked. Is she wicked, or did she have wickedness thrust upon her, as they say? And it's a really really cool way to take something from the original text and then just twist it, just based on one word. So the book originally from Gregory Maguire actually had that original idea, but then what took it up another level was just the songs. So I think the musical is one of the best musicals ever. I mean, it's I'm so basic when I say this, but I think what we lose in just thoughtless consumerism and consumption of these things, typically you watch a good movie, you're like, oh, that's a good movie, and then you move on with your life. I think that is not right for the best movies, the best musicals, because you should actually spend some time thinking through and going through a few loops of revisions and thoughts to process it, to hold space for it. And that's what I'm doing here. Like I'm basically just saying like, hey, like it's worth slowing down and capturing where my relationship is with this musical and movie, because it's going to be around for the next 20 years. It's not going to stay. It's not going to age poorly, because it is timeless. It's fantastic as well. Like that the subject material, it's a fantasy setting, so there's no like technology references that matter. It's just completely timeless. So that is Wicked the musical. What else can I say? I mean, I'll cover a lot of that in like the stuff that comes here. But I love also that there are connections to Wizard of Oz. Everyone starts from a place. Everyone has like a very natural introduction. It doesn't seem very forced. And then you eventually find out that basically every single thing in Wicked has shows up in Wizard of Oz. So it's like a very thoughtful prequel in the sense that it's almost that like it's a lived-in universe in the sense that like everything has a place. Probably the movie. We can go into the movie a little bit after this. The movie maybe steps a little bit too far by also including the origin story of the Yellow Brick Road, which the musical did not have. So I'm just going to stop there and transition to the movie. By the way, I'm using this thing, Super Whisper, that does transcriptions, in the hope that it's going to help me with my blog. It could rewrite it for me. It's supposed to transcribe it for me. I don't know, but yeah, I much rather just yap on stream and whisper it, chuck it into a blog, and not overthink it, because I am the time that I had, like, if my normal blogging process would make me spend 10 hours on this thing. Okay, that's me blogging. There we go. You could use ChatGPT to rewrite this, but it doesn't really matter. That's just a blob of text. Okay. So I have some visual assistance for the thoughts on the movie, and so the movie had a lot of baggage to it, I would say. There was some drama around the posters, right, where they recreated the Whisper logo of the original musical. All right, so I'll just close the musical for now. And it definitely was in production hell for a long time. So not great, but I think obviously everyone's very excited by Ariana and Cynthia being the main leads. Didn't really know basically everyone else, but if you're clued in, like you're excited by Jonathan Bailey and Ethan Slater. I would say Marissa Bode like really stood out during the show. She's actually a wheelchair user, which is very nice. Peter Dinklage, not casting him as a Munchkin, very nice. Michelle Yeoh, I feel like she's a little bit typecast, because it's basically the same role that she had in Crazy Rich Asians, except now she's obviously a villain. Maybe that's a bit of a spoiler. Hi.
Yo, what's good?
What's good? Is that yours?
What? This?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering if I should like clean that up.
You can have some, bro.
No. I mean, I was wondering if I should like um,
Throw it out.
throw it out because it's it's fruit.
Yeah.
um, okay, let's see. I'm using Whisper to blog.
Oh, is that the voice to?
Yeah,
Is it voice to?
voice to text,
Voice to
speech to text.
Nice. It's OpenAI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. Catch you later, man.
What's that?
Catch you later.
I'll catch you later, bro.
See ya.
See ya.
Okay, let's see. One thing I was unsure about was like how the reception would be. Obviously, for those who are theater kids like me, who have loved this movie for fucking 20 years, we're obviously going to see it. But what would the broader population think? And I think the big gross numbers was really affirming, I guess, that the people cared about this. It is meant to be more adult, but I think it's still accessible to kids. There's like 2 kisses in the movie. Like, who cares? I mean, there's overt themes of racism. There's overt themes of um, propaganda and evilness. But I think the kids will easily skip over that stuff because they just want to watch Wickeds. They just want to watch witches. What else about the movie? Okay, I think the best way to do this is scene by scene, and then I'll recap the movie at the end. Okay, so, and by the way, like, I think that the soundtrack here. This is what I'm going off of. I think this is one of the biggest, like, best intros. Because it basically previews the musical themes. When this is playing, like, this kind of curtain is shut, and it's just kind of like anticipating all this. I wonder if so part of one of the things I want to do is maybe do stills. So I look for stills here. There's this movie stills that I think could be useful. So everything, all those voices were the movie. Yeah, I probably won't be playing the soundtrack because I mean I think YouTube is just very good at blocking that, which is fine by me. I wasn't gonna like sit here and listen to the whole thing, but I think I wanted to comment on like specific things within here, like the sort of differences I noticed and like the voicing that I noticed. Um, but I think obviously here is where you first hear Ariana like kind of be her sort of soprano self, and I think that's like just really gorgeous and beautiful. I also like the whole pretense of not knowing Glinda. I think not knowing Alphaba. I think is like really well done. Like they had this whole like witch effigy that was in the show. Where do I see that? I don't think I can get a skill still here. Oh, there we go. That's a good one. So yeah, so like in the normal show, in the normal musical, you have basically a circle. You don't actually have a real bubble. Everyone's like kind of pretends that it's a bubble. Um, it doesn't feel like this basically feels like a very faithful representation, except that like I feel like the town is just way too small for this number of people. Because like how many houses are there? I'm not really sure. Um, yeah. Anyway, what else would I say about No One Mourns the Wicked? It's just a really good opener. I'm not too concerned about diving in too deep on that one. Okay, so Dear Old Shiz. This is one of those like there are two kind of weaker songs that like not a ton of people like, but I think this one's like really well done um for being a school song. So I think if you're a real Wicked fan, you learn to sing this song because it's a shibboleth on. Did you actually bother to memorize all the songs? Eh, I did not. I don't know. I mean, but it does sound like a very good college song, and that's what it's going for, which is fantastic. Okay, where is the school stuff? Yeah, I don't really know. Um, yeah, so I guess what do I call this? Like a very good G song. Okay, here's where we get to like the first like banger S tier song. Like, by the way, the reason I'm making references to tiers is the is someone like did like a tier list video of all the songs, and I mostly agree with it. People, I think in the post show recap, like I'll just kind of record this. So after the movie that we watched today, we went for lunch and we was talking about it, and everyone was going through and talking about their favorite songs. And I think the classic favorite songs, number one for the girls, they really like Popular. Number two was Defying Gravity. Those are the two songs that often stood out to most people. But I think the actual underrated one is The Wizard and I. And I had like a whole rant about it today, which I thought was really funny because I'm usually not that um, outspoken, especially in like a large group setting. So every musical has an I want song. It basically is the character is telling you their motivations through song. And every great musical has a great I want song. Like I don't think you can have a good musical without a good I want song. And the examples that you come up with is like The Little Mermaid. Um, Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? When you think my collection's complete, when you think I'm a girl who has everything. You fast forward all the way to out of that, na, 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 out where we stay all day with the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world. That is the I Want song. She wishes she could be part of that world. Then you also skip to like Hamilton, where he's not going to throw away his shot, and um, I wonder what the my shot lyrics. So there he goes. Every burden, every disadvantage I have learned to manage. I don't have a gun to brandish. I walk the streets famished. The plan is this fan is spark into a flame. The plan is getting dark, so let me spell out this name. And then it actually, as a bonus, it says the I wants of each of these side characters. So Lafayette, I dream of life without a monarchy. The unrest in France will lead to anarchy. Anarchy, how you say? Mulligan, I'm a tailor's apprentice. I got y'all knuckleheads in local parentis in joining the rebellion because I know it's my chance to socially advance. He only wants to socially advance. I don't know. That's not like a great line. Lawrence, the most closest quote unquote to Hamilton, he says, "We'll never be truly free until those in bondage have the same rights as you as me." And he spends the rest of his Act One fighting for freedom from slavery. So I think if you find every great musical, you have one of the I Want songs like that. And so I always highlight to people that this is the I Want song. I would highlight Rachel Ziegler's version as like really really good. I think I'm just gonna pick this one. Doesn't really matter. listen to this rendition from Rachel Siegler. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like this is one of the like not popular. Popular is too sort of saccharine, and maybe um, too sort of double-handed, backhanded, whatever. Defying Gravity is obviously um, the sort of banger hit features on all the trailers, but Wizard and I is extremely challenging to sing. You still belt at the end of it, but it also has so much irony. It is so fantastic what that song does for you. So let's go over the lyrics. Oh, it starts with Madame Marble. I think what's her name? What's her face? Um, God, I forget her name already. Um, no, Michelle Yeoh wasn't as great a Madame Morrible as most the Madame Morribles that play this, because they should sound a little bit older. I mean, obviously she's not a singer. Um, when for just the clearest one is when she says Magic Grand Vizier, right? So you go here. Oh, okay. It doesn't really matter. But you're supposed to go like Magic Grand Vizier, my dear. I'll write at once to the wizard, tell him of you in advance. So very sort of British tone, because that's the sort of character that she originally is portrayed. Michelle Yeoh's is quite different. She's more Asian, of course, but yeah, it's a difference. I don't think it matters that much, but yeah. Okay, so I want to look for the irony. I'm looking for the irony of this thing. So this is one of the first sort of foreshadowing-y things, because this actually happens in the movie. This does not happen in the musical. One day they say to me, Alpha, girl who is so superior, shouldn't a girl who's so inside have a matching exterior? And since folks here to an absurd degree seem fixated on your verdigris. By the way, verdigris, not what I thought it was when you look it up. So you look it up here. M. What does verdigris mean? A blue or green powder. Who's this pink? Yeah, weird. Yeah, so like not what I thought. Would it be alright by you if I did greenify you? And although of course that's not important to me. Alright, why not? I'll reply. Oh, what a pair we'll be, the wizard and I. So he actually asked this in the movie, which kind of ruins it a bit. I guess I don't think it. Sorry, I take that back. It shows her character development. Um, yeah, but like because in the musical it is unstated, but in the movie it is explicitly stated. It loses a little subtlety if on that reflected. Okay. Um, all right, moving on. Um, this is the second bit of irony. So when she says unlimited, this is unlimited. This is somewhere over the rainbow. It's the same progression of notes, but also obviously in Defying Gravity, you have the same thing. Together we're unlimited. So she starts it here in Wizard and I and ends it in Defying Gravity. So that I think that's really good motifs all around. Every character has a motif, every theme has a motif, and you sort of repeat that in a song. I think it's very, very tight songwriting there that I highly recommend or just appreciate. Um, I swear someday there'll be a celebration throughout Oz that's all to do with me. And it's um, that's the celebration that we start with. That is the celebration that we have for No One Mourns the Wicked. It's Fantastic irony. The third piece of irony, I think, I'd be so happy I couldn't melt. That's great. That's how she dies. If you know the story. There's a fourth piece, which is very similar and related. When people see me, they will scream for half of Oz's favorite team, Wizard and I. That's the belt. That's such a gorgeous belt. Um, yeah, really, really, really amazing song. I think super underrated. People who audition for this show should basically start here. Um, yeah, because it's an incredible song. I don't know if that was captured, by the way, by the thing. Okay, cool. So that is the Wizard of Night, Wizard and I. I don't think I captured any of it, which is kind of sad, but whatever. Then people go to what is this feeling? So this is the hate song. Okay. Where does okay? Maybe I should capture. What's weird is I don't remember. I don't have any memory at all of what visuals happens with the Wizard and I, because basically they show up at Shiz, and then um, they get assigned the rooms, and then there's a point where she's like walking around by herself, and she figures out she says the Wizard and I song. So I don't really know where that is, but it bothers me that I don't super remember it very well. And we'll talk about the dance sequence here. The dance sequence is really great. Okay, cool. I guess we move on to what is this feeling. So what is this feeling is when they are at when they move in for the first time together, and they are hating each other. There's a very, very stark contrast. Or like her assistants are like kind of moving to different pieces. There we go. Wait, where did it go? Here. There we go. I wish I could do. So I was planning to play and comment on the renditions, but it looks like it doesn't play anyway, so there's not much I can do. It does help to jog my mind as to like what each of the things, each of the scenes and the choices made were done. Let me see if I can kind of work off the lyrics there. What is this? Certain as a flame, does it have a name? Yes, I would say there's the single most important moment in this song is here, and there's been some confusion, for you see my roommate is unusually inexplicably peculiar and altogether quite impossible to describe. So Cynthia does not do this great. Let me just, I feel like this is blasphemy, so I need to, there we go. This looks like a music video. They have like this split screen thing. I think it's a good choice, but I just want to focus on like the most important thing, which is them describing each other. They're talk. Well, my face is flushy. That's the talking to each other. That doesn't happen in the musical. It's a great addition. Okay, actually, they've already skipped the lyric that I was trying to look after. But anyway, in the movie, basically Cynthia Erivo drops, like, you're supposed to say blonde in like a very disdainful way, and she kind of just drops it with no emotion. And that was my like, like I don't know if this movie is going to do the musical justice moment, because they don't understand how important this thing is. Oh well, it is what it is. What are you going to do? I would just say like Cynthia fumbled blonde. Okay. They had a dance in here, which is kind of interesting. So this dance, very good. Like I think this is Ariana like using her pop star experience or whatever. Like obviously, not a crazy technically difficult dance, but I think a much very positive addition to uh, to the staging of this song. Ari was fantastic in her dance and self presumptuousness. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Is it weird that I knew exactly what she was going to say when she was on this thing? I've only seen this twice. The addition of cafeteria, that's new. The steps, you can't hear this on the stream, but the steps where they're sort of marching in tune, that is also new and is very welcome. So this is starting to be anything where like this is very John Chu. This is very choreographed. This is where like everyone is doing things they would not do in real life. They're just kind of doing this as like vaguely matched choreography. Very very difficult to do. I think takes me out of it a little bit because there's nothing on their plates. Yeah. So I think one thing I would like to comment about like just the um, meta of this movie. They made a big deal out of everyone sings as they are acting, so they don't record separately. I don't think it takes it. I don't think it mattered at all. Like this sounds over. This sounds overlaid. This sounds like they were in a studio. And if they were singing live, who cares? Like I like just wouldn't even take the same take. But whatever. The fight really good, except that she's so skinny. Yeah, you don't really think she's in the same weight class basically as her as Alphaba. So so the jealousy portrayed here, not really in the musical as well. Just like straight addition. I think just overall a big net win from John Chu. Like the directing added so much to this song that was not in the script, not in the musical. They told the story. Her laugh, this laugh, different. A little bit malicious. I feel like the original Alphabet would not have done that just to scare it. But I mean, it is in the script, so maybe it wouldn't have cackled that much. But maybe they're just kind of um, they're they're going for more of the witchiness earlier in the movie. Okay, let us go to something bad. So this is Peter Dinklage. So I feel like there are a couple of choices here, right? So the first choice is having him be a real goat instead of being a guy wearing a goat costume. And where can I see that here? There we go. Um, And uh, obviously, it's something that you can do in a musical. You cannot do in you can do in a movie, but you can't do it in a musical. It definitely took me out a little bit because the guys in the goat costumes were more believably human-like, so they more had rights, whereas these are sort of animals that happen to speak, and obviously there are other animals that do not speak in Oz. Oh, I should also mention like these two side characters are complete additions; they're not in the musical. I think it's just a way to shovel Bo Yang into this. I don't know who she is. Um, okay, and then so like let's listen in a little bit. That's new. In the musical, the Dr. Dillerman is usually a worse speaker, like singer on purpose. Like this sounds auto tuned. It is what it is. Okay, that's actually a very good bet. Um, I felt like in the movie it was not as goatee, and that also took it away from the actual performance. But they're very good. Usually they're British. Okay, so it looks like it's not in here, but they had this they introduced this element of Dr. Dillerman's not being able to pronounce Galinda, and they and he basically seemed to kind of choke on it, um, and it didn't seem like he was saying Glinda, and so that made the eventual name change a little bit stranger. I felt like that wasn't super well handled, very minor, but it introduces the sort of animal plot very well. Dancing Through Life, the only good male song in the whole musical. So this is the one that I sing because you can't really sing anything else because everyone else is female. So Dancing Through Life, this is Jonathan Bailey's big number. I think like it is very scary to step into this role because it's supposed to be like this hot sex symbol thing. I think Hugh Jackman played it. Uh, Hugh Jackman, Fierro, Wicked. No, he didn't. What has he played? I think he obviously played Les Mis, but in his theater career, he did other stuff too. Um, there we go. Okay, he played Gaston. Yeah. Okay. 1996. Um, all right. Let's get a picture of Jonathan Bailey. I think his real life is way better looking than what he ended up with in the movie. Um, let's see. Nope. Here? Nope. Here? There we go. Closer. Uh, this dance. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess this is the best one. I think like the the hair was good. The stage presence was really good. He had the toughest number of the whole thing. So this is the um, John Chu dancing through life. So they had to stage the library thing, and this is also another huge John Chu thing. I think this is the Vanity Fair breakdown. Oh, I think it's Entertainment Weekly. This is pure John Chu, not in the show, of course. In the show, he's just in sort of the town square, just singing about how awesome he is. But here they have a whole dance number. It looks fantastical and all practical. They built this. This is all real. They built the whole. We'll be fair ladies tonight. Dude, this segment here looks impossible. He basically sticks to the wall at like a almost vertical angle and somehow just slides with it. Very very like I still don't know how they did it if they did not tilt it. But you can see the background that this is where ground is. Ground is at the bottom. They haven't rotated the camera, so they rotate a little bit. So okay, so there's a visual tilt effect. This is the camera is not exactly 90 degrees to the floor anymore. It's like kind of tilted to the side. And you get a full stand. This is the guy who did the camera trick. He looks like so the camera makes it seem like he's on the ceiling, and that's fantastic. Yeah. Life. So very very like amazingly well put together. I would say that the other like this is another song with like a ton of irony. So let's go look at lyrics now. Dance live lyrics. um, okay, big spoiler time. Fiyero is the straw man, and the straw man in The Wizard of Oz lacks brains. The lion lacks courage. The straw man lacks brains. The Iron Man lacks heart. So, fun fact to try to figure out who lacks heart. um, let's see. Uh, so he says things like, "Life is fraughtless when you're thoughtless." That's one. Dancing through life, mindless and careless. And then he goes down. He doesn't say the word all the way to the end. Alphabet gets the hat here. It's really sharp, don't you think? Hmm. He doesn't say the word here. Yeah, okay, here it is. Life's more painless for the brainless. So he calls himself brainless. He's completely fine with it, and I just think like the writing of this character's definitive song is so ironic and so great. It really has a lot speaking for it, which is why I love it so much. Like I just love the carelessness. I love the swagger that he has, and I love the irony. There's a second level of irony, of course, in real life here, and that's Bach and Glinda. See that tragically beautiful girl, the one in the chair. It seems so unfair. Would she go on a spree and not she? Gee, I know someone would be my hero if that someone her to go invite her. I would do anything for you, Miss Galinda. So this is Bach, Ethan Slater talking to Ariana Grande as Galinda. and of course they end up together. um, so very ironic, very um, on the nose that they would start dating. Yeah, there's a lot of drama around this. I don't really care beyond that. Okay. Dancing Through Life. Oz does duet. This is an addition. I don't know that this is in the main show, but let's listen to it. So this is just the orchestral thing. So this is done. This is so this is where he he goes to August twice again. He dances good. Okay, so I can't find I can't find a clip of that. I thought it was just really well done. I thought that callback when she leaves the hand sign of her dancing. I thought it was really really good. Like it added to the musical. I think a lot of people complain like why it's two-part movie, and for like the first movie is the same entire length of the original musical. It's because they added stuff like this, and I think all the additions I think basically made sense. I haven't found an addition that I don't like yet. um so that's me that's my comment on it. Okay, then we go to popular, where they decide to reconcile. And I think this is most people's favorite song. It's a very cute song. What can I say about it? Um, it's really like that's what makes me so good. This sounds a little bit different than Kristen Chenoweth, who is more of a ditzy blonde type. Maybe because she's a natural blonde, but it really like Kristen really leaned into the like I'm doing you a favor as a charity, because you need my charity and because I've decided to make you my project. There also is an operatic nature about Glinda, that she tends to get into these poses, and alphabet is more normal, um, and you can really hear that. And I would say like here is where Ariana like starts to do better than Kristen, in which might be a strong statement to say. Okay, I'm feeling like I don't need to cover everything else. One Short Day is the um, I'm not that girl. Ooh, this song this is like such a great song. Um, Okay, maybe I'll just I won't play the music because I think that definitely is distracting. Okay, so statements on popular is that popular is very popular. I think um, the irony of establishing it as like making your roommate your new project and bestowing your charity on her, and then also in the same voice, giving her the black hat that you hate, and think is gross, and then ending by saying you're not going to be as popular as me because nobody is as popular as me. I think it's really good as character establishment. Like it's just fantastic writing from them. I think it was awkwardly staged because like the camera and the movie doesn't like being in one room the whole time, and I think that's what happens in the movie version. So tricky, but it's fine. I would say like Kristen Chenoweth tends to nail the job of being a ditzy blonde college girl better because she's tiny. Ariana is also tiny, but Kristen is tinier, and and she like jumps on the bed and goes like ah, like and that's something that Ariana's Glinda doesn't do, um, which is stuff you notice because you just watched it a lot. What else about Popular? No, I mean I just fantastic song. See, I don't know if that recorded at all. So that I was supposed to try to record that. Okay, man, that's great. Okay, cool. I'm not that girl. I have actually sung this spontaneously. I'm not that girl. It is a beautiful song. Again, one of the second tier. Only true fans, appreciate it. Um, Hands touch, eyes meet. Very, very poetic. Sudden silence, sudden heat. Heart sleep in a giddy world. He couldn't be that boy, but I'm not. Hmm. Um, so this is sung in the forest with Fierro, and then he calls back to it later in the added scene where she's stepping on the train and he shows up. Um, it's it's a very tough song because it's not a belty song. It's more of like a talking to yourself song. And I don't know. It's just very very understated, very beautiful, very poetic. I just think like um, the writing of this. I don't know if Stephen Schwartz was also responsible for lyrics. She who's winsome, she wins him. Oh my God! Like what the hell? Gold hair with a gentle curl. That's the girl he chose, and heaven knows. So just beautifully written. That's all I can say to that. Okay. I usually dread One Short Day. I usually hate it. I usually skip through it. It is definitely very similar to this genre song like Dear Old Shiz, whereas Dear Old Shiz is like the genre is college song, whatever. One Short Day is a city tourism guide. Like we're here, like we're advertising the city, and we're advertising the Emerald City, and I especially don't like the play in the middle. But I will say that they also made this worthwhile, interesting, good, especially bringing back. Um, um, yeah, I'll say they added dimension to this by adding in the wise old ones. I think they're called, which is bringing Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel back as cameos and having them sing, having them show a little bit of personality, like nudging at each other. Basically, nothing's changed for these two over the last 20 years, and then having them pair up with their counterparts. So I don't know if there's an image of that, but it was really gratifying to see them back in Wicked after 20 years. It's a bit sad to see them old. Kristen Chenoweth in Wicked with Ariana Grande. Let's see if we can get them here. Okay. No, I missed it. Oh, doesn't matter. So yeah, this it was just really nice to see them back together. I would say that I feel like the makeup for these two during the movie made them look older than they are. it made them look more angular, um, and I don't know. They didn't look their best during this segment. But it definitely felt like they were sort of passing the mantle on generationally. I think I will have more to say about Defying Gravity later, but um, it it felt like, I mean, who among these two are the sort of best descendants of each other? Um, God, they're different in different ways. Yeah, I think Cynthia wins. Cynthia wins as the inheritance of Elphaba. Um, my other favorite fact about One Short Day is that the end, where they say the wizard will see you now, that's Stephen Schwartz. Um, so he cameos in the musical that he wrote, which is a very very interesting and poetic comeback. Okay, finally, last two. Sentimental Man. This is the second one of the bad songs. So like usually I would say um, in musicals like this, there's always a male character that's like the side. In Hamilton, this will be King George. Um, what is the Mr. Cellophane who sings that? Mr. Cellophane, I'm Mr. Cellophane. And you can. So this is in Chicago. Mr. Cellophane is like just him on stage and talking about how much his life sucks. Um, Something bad is like that basically, and also a sentimental man is that for the wizard. Um, Usually the worst song in the whole musical. No one likes it. You just have to get through it. It sucks. Um, and but Jeff Goldblum actually sounds good, which is impossible. I think that it's an interesting using Jeff Goldblum to do this because he makes it so Jeff Goldblum, like it's like more him than him being the wizard. Whereas Ariana actually made an effort to make Ariana go away and be Glinda. Jeff, like, just ironically as an actor, just is himself. A lot of people like that and come to see that. It's very similar to Dune and Dune Emperor actor. What's his name? Christopher Walken. It was just Christopher Walken as the Emperor in Dune, and it took people out of Dune a little bit to see him just be himself, and not assume a different identity, a different role. But in some sense, like I'll defend the choice of Christopher Walken as Emperor because he's supposed to be frail and weak and pitiful, and I think he played that role really well. Jeff was just Jeff, and I didn't like that, but he did sound good on this song, so I give him. So the irony, of course, is he's singing this to his daughter. He just doesn't know yet, which is fantastic. Yeah, love all the irony. I don't really care much for this song, so we can kind of skip past to Define Gravity. Um, okay, Define Gravity. You're gonna hear way too much of this, so there's not a ton to say apart from like the specific choices in the staging of the musical version. Um, the the choice of showing the broom as they come in. Do they have Defying Gravity in the movie? I don't think they would release it. Yeah, yeah. This is going to be impossible to search. Um, so let me just kind of collect the thoughts. So this is obviously the sort of capstone song, like the famous song for Wicked, and it's basically it's very hard to listen to this without also comparing it to Idina Menzel. Indina, I think, just defines witch, like the witch voice, the very raw. Um, when she sings, when she opens her mouth, you can see her gathering the magical powers that she has and channeling it as though she was a witch. I would say, um, I would say like the same thing happens with when she did Frozen, um, and you can sort of see the sort of lyrics. Oh, fuck. Okay, so let's look up the lyrics because uh, lyrics for Defying Gravity, and then lyrics for Let It Go. So both for Adina. Okay. So she goes here. I just want to. So here. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. No, I don't like. That's not what I want. Yeah. Okay. Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I've lost. Well, if that's love, it comes at much too high a cost. I still know by defying gravity. So this is where she starts belting. This is where she like starts channeling the witchiness that she has, and it's really powerful. I think there's a similar moment that I feel in Let It Go, which is conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. If you listen to these two parts, with these two, with Idina doing the same song, it's almost the same song. It's really weird. I always want to like compare the character, compare the notes. I don't have perfect pitch, but I would be willing to bet that they have very similar progressions. Um, and like that's what witch means. Like she is a witch in both these things. She's exerting the maximum of her power, in both of these scenes, and it's really nice to see that's being expressed through the writing of the songs and the words, and then finding the perfect person to portray this. And then you have to match that with how Cynthia does it, which is a little bit less powerful as a witch. I don't know how to describe it. I wish I had the sort of language or the music analysis things to show you the difference, because I can almost see it, when you hear Cynthia saying she's strong, she's weaker here and then stronger everywhere else. Um, it's basically like Idina just spikes on being a witch. Like she is the witch. So very, very strange. Okay, so last bit, I think everyone needs to focus or think or talk about or have an opinion on, the ending sort of, ad lib is what they call it. I don't like calling it ad lib. No, no, it's not the- This is beat for beat exactly the same. Okay, here comes the trill. This one Idina added when it wasn't in the script. She added it, and it became the signature of Alphaba. And this is Cynthia's take on it. I have come around to this. I used to think that this is showing off too much. Too much going on. Like, what the fuck? Like, you go up and down and all that. But she has that raw power in the voice. She's angry. She's fierce. She's proud. She wants to show everyone what she can do. Um, and Idina's version obviously is a lot simpler. And I think every Alphaba has their own twist on this. I think there's a YouTube video out there, of like every alphabet. And I have watched this. So the definitive alphabet, watch all the alphabets, is Jessica Voss. Um, it's like it's very hard to have any to beat Adina Menzel. Like she was the perfect alphabet, and so only Jessica Vosk, I think, in my mind. What the fuck? How can you not have? Okay, this list is bad. Jessica Vosk, Define Gravity. Woo! Jessica might be the only alphabet that has more power than Adina. Insane. Look at her face. um, so yeah, it's very simple. Like that's as simple as that wave and trill can be. Reminds me of a little bit of Tarzan. I don't know. I think this is more realistic. Like basically, here is Cynthia's version. Cynthia's version is like this version of Defying Gravity basically is what you would do for people who already know Defying Gravity and you want something different. And Cynthia does it. I listened to the NPR coverage of the Wicked movie, and everyone discussed this for like 5 minutes. And I think I came around to the fact that like it is powerful. It is a flex. It is Cynthia saying like this is my alphabet, and I think it's people ended up liking it more than the Adina Menzel one, which to me is blasphemy. You can't say anything bad about the original one. The original one's perfect, but I would say like I think a lot of people are still thinking about this. Obviously, it's in every freaking trailer, so you cannot escape it. You're just going to be listening to it, and everyone who does karaoke for Defying Gravity, everyone who covers it, are going to have to wrestle with this decision of which Defying Gravity trill you're going to do. Um, and this one is just extra. It's just extra. I think I don't like it. I appreciate it, but I don't like it. That's my take on it. Very important song, but like that's a take on it. I will say, so I don't know if I can find clips of this. I was gonna go through and like maybe like look at some images and like maybe find the right image for you to show. So this is how the scene goes at the end, right? Defying Gravity, like there, she enchants the broom. She gets the broom. They're trying to get her. She jumps and it jumps across with her broom. That's the first time she takes a big sort of flight, and then she breaks the glass and falls down and it gets the ability to fly just in time and starts flying off. She has this cloak at the end, which is a kind of a long cloak that Glinda puts on her, that then becomes like this super long super cape thing, which is basically a reference to how it looks in the actual musical. So if you see it in the musical Defying Gravity stage, I don't know, this, when you see this in the musical, that they actually replicated this in the movie, and basically only musical fans will catch that and understand that this cloak magically gets bigger just as a tribute. Like it's not, it obviously is not that long. It's not that big, but it's just a tribute, and it's kind of really really cool. The other thing I really appreciate that I encourage fans to know, is that sometimes, so this is how they do this, right? That she's showing that she's flying. Everyone's like scared of her. She's like doing her big number, and this is meant to be this big triangle is meant to be the cloak. How they do this is she gets on a lift, forklift, they lift her up. That simple. Sometimes this fails, right? Like they do 8 shows a week. Sometimes this fails, and that's called a no-fly version. And there are many clips of no-fly defying gravity, which are hilarious when they do the no-fly. Okay, so this is a rehearsal where the forklift that is supposed to lift her up doesn't work. God. Okay, fine, whatever. So instead of standing like here, um, they're all standing. They now have to fall down, and she's standing up. So it's just a relative distance. So yeah, look at Jessica's like way of, she uses it like a gun. She uses the broom as a gun, as a very threatening symbol. Okay, nothing to see here. I would say last thing that I want to show you before we end is the Connor DeVoe version of the no fly defy gravity. So, so this is like this guy's a Broadway singer. He's like mid tier. You know, he's been lead. He's been understudy. He's been ensemble. But he turned 30 and he got all his musical friends to do a reading of Defying Gravity, and this is what he does. It's an umbrella. So all the friends are on the ground because every single one of them knows the no-fly contingency for Wicked. Maybe they did it, maybe they rehearsed it, I don't know. But it's just fucking hilarious that this emergency thing that they had to come up with as a practical setup then becomes like part of the lore of, if you are a Wicked fan, you know what to do when the elevator fails, when the forklift fails, and that is Wicked. Yeah, so like basically the movie directly ends after this. It just cuts and say, wait a year for part two. I felt like and this is actually where Act One finishes. Like, this is the end of Act One. You go to the intermission. Usually, intermission is like 30 minutes long. Here, the intermission is 1 year, and it's a nice way to cut it. I don't mind. Like I think overall they can make 2.5 hours not feel like 2.5 hours for a movie. The stuff that John Chu added is worthwhile, worth watching. Um, Adds to every important song some context that is physical and not in the script, but welcome anyway. There, I heard the NPR guy who was reviewing it say like there's a part that you can skip, that you can go pee. I think there's a website that tells you where to pee in movies, and it's basically the train part, and it's where she changes her name. Like Fierro comes up and says like, I'm still thinking about that night that we spent together, and he starts singing, what's that song, I'm not that girl. So I think it just makes everything more heavy-handed, like the movie does, compared to the musical, and I don't think that's bad. I think that maybe 10x more people are going to see this than have seen the musical, and you need to kind of hammer it in, dumb it down a little bit, but still have great music. And I think this is what this thing achieves. So overall, I think this is the last time I'm going to see it. I need to stop thinking about this for a year. So thanks for helping me process this. And yeah, if you think there's some theme, I think one last thing. I'm gonna stop there. I don't like that animation for the transcription, but I know it's transcribing. It's just weird to see the same animation as the speaking one. I really like thematic reviews. When you see like lessons from the screenplay, they always have like a film analysis, right? I would wish, I know it's coming. I wish that I could do that same level of analysis, but you basically that involves more time than I have. But the thematic views of like what wickedness is, what propaganda is, um, what loyalty means. Like I did say in part of our um, let's see, I'm just gonna correct some thoughts. In our after show discussion, people were sort of aligning teams. Are they team Galinda, team Alphaba? And I'm definitely team Alphaba. There were some people who were pro team Galinda, even though she's not the sympathetic character here. And I realized that the first word I said was like Galinda's not loyal. Like she pretends to be, she like decides to be friends, and in her own way, which is not her fault. Like she's privileged. She is coming at Elphaba from like her set of point of view, and she's not the most sympathetic setup from there. But like she does a good thing by normalizing Glinda's, by normalizing Alphaba's way of dancing and like, making her so accepted in school that she eventually gets a full school send off when she goes to see the Wizard of Oz. So um, Glinda is good there, and then she is not good when she effectively sells out Elphaba by the end of the show, which is the start of the show, where she says, "Yes, it's good that the witch is dead. The witch is my friend," and and she says things like, "Oh yeah, I did know her. Our paths did cross." What the fuck, Glinda? Like you were best friends, you were roommates. You know what was done to her. You know that the establishment has like treated her wrong and like, manipulated the public's perception of her for their gain, and you have no backbone. So I can never be pro Glinda. She's unredeemable to me, even though she's done some good things. So that's the take. I don't think it's a very hot take. So whoever sees this, like all 10 of you, you have my full thoughts on Wicked. See you next year.